Hey viewers, welcome to another game of Casual Pro Gamer. Today we're doing a 1 vs 1 Starcraft 2 game, as usual 1 vs 1. Unfortunately there aren't a whole lot of multiplayer games available, especially not from good players. So we have MఠStephano here as the Zerg in the right side, in the 3 o'clock position, against FnticHarstem. Harstem? I don't know. This guy as the Protoss in the bottom position, which is the 6 o'clock. And we have the scout going out in the right direction, so that is excellent. And with the scout going out in the right direction, it means that the Zerg player is immediately going to know what's up in the Protoss base. And since the Protoss will have to build up to Stalkers to get rid of it, it is going to be difficult to actually, well, get rid of that. That's really lucky for our Zerg player here. And yeah, for the rest we see the standard things going off. Obviously we have drones and probes coming up. We have a pylon, we have an additional overlord. The overlord is going to scout to the other side of the map. So he has a 1 in 3 shot of finding the correct base, of course. And since he always sends out a scout over here or to the top, his first scout, because those are the closest position to scout. He has a 1 in 2 shot of actually choosing the right one, is if someone actually spawns here. If he's spawning on the other side, yeah, there's nothing he can do about that. Anyhow, we do see the standard stuff coming out, as I said. And we are going to see an expansion here. Oh, this is gonna be bad. Oh, with this expansion coming up and the Zerg not yet having his expansion, it means that the Protoss has no defense at all. So it means that the spawning pool came up first. And that means that we are going to see some Zerglings attacking this base. And there is no defense yet. Obviously, if the Protoss can manage to wall off this side with a cannon behind it, he might be able to do it. But it's going to cost a lot of minerals. And we will have to see if that is going to happen. The forge will come up at... no, actually a gateway, I think. Yeah, a gateway coming up. And he actually does have the minerals available. Oh, wow. So it doesn't even matter that that came up so late. Or, well, that he expanded so quickly, I mean. But it's not going to matter because he's going to have the minerals available to wall this off whenever he wants. And so the 2 Zerglings, yeah, only. And of course, MఠStephano knows what's up. He knows that that this is the case, and therefore he is not pressing his advantage, even though he does have a big advantage, well, military-wise. But yeah, not really caring about that for now. Anyhow, we have 2 assimilators coming up in the main base, and obviously he's going to occupy both of them with 3. By the way, this is not Heart of the Swarm, it seems, because there is no counter on the Nexus to see how many of those workers it has, and that might actually very well be true. I don't really know. I just got this replay and didn't really check the date. It is at least a reasonably recent replay. Wow, that's a lot of recent. A lot of I should say. Reasonably recent replay. Anyhow, we are going to go with a hatchery here, with a queen obviously, and well, I assume that he did pick up the probe by now. I assumed wrong. He is going to do it. The probe's not going to be allowed back into the base. Cybernetics core comes up next to it, and of course to build the cybernetics core you need the gateway first. So yeah, he waited to build that until he actually could, but well, he had the probe there just to make sure that if a big amount of Zerglings came in, he could actually wall it off with another gateway over here, and that is very hard to break for the Zerg. So by now we have some units out. No, no sentry first. He started off with a Stalker, and normally we see the sentry first for 2 reasons. First of all, they can build force fields. Second of all, you want to build them first normally, because then they charge up the biggest amount of energy. And obviously, if you build them second, it's going to have less energy than it would otherwise have had. and it can shoot down air units, so that's not a problem either. Going to actually attack the destructible debris because he wants to expand again. Wow, a third base up before the Zerg, well, once again, because, well, he built his second base before the Zerg as well, and yeah, you can see the spine crawlers are coming up, so Stephano knows he's a little bit behind, I think. And yes, he did scout that base. He does know what's up, he does know that there is a second base coming up, second expansion coming up, a third base. And we are going to produce some Immortals. The Immortals, of course, are very good against roaches, but not against Zerglings. So if Stephano sticks to Zerglings, yeah, that is not going to do very well. The Observer comes in just when the Overseer spawns. And it's going to get taken out by the first Queen it sees. It did see most of the, well, most of everything. And... well, we are going to poke down this destructible debris as well. So the infestation pit coming up, or is already up, sorry, and yeah, he is going to build some infestors, I have to assume, because infestors are kind of the thing you want as a Zerg player against, well, any race, because, well, with that huge fungal growth, it can just wipe out entire armies, or at least keep them there until they get wiped out. Look at that, the giraffe next, just poking at that, just doing the damage to it, making sure that he can expand as well. Well, he can expand, of course, but making sure that that he can actually reinforce his expansion, and that is not a problem now. So only a few Zerglings out. Let's see how the units are doing. We have 3 Immortals, but only 1 Stalker and 3 Sentries. So really focusing on producing those Immortals. He has 3 of those. He's now building a Colossus. And then he goes up against 8 Zerglings currently, and that's it. I mean, the Queens, yeah, they're not really considered to be offensive units. And he now has 5 Infestors as well. So yeah, caster units do of course take a while to get their energy up, so you want to create them as early as possible. And we now have a few more Zerglings out, 18 Zerglings total now, and that should be good enough to at least poke a little bit if, well, he can find a kind of weak spot in the defense, but normally there is no weak spot because these guys are pros. Now, they play a lot, so they know how to defend their bases. They know what's needed to delay an army like this until they can have their army there as well. Because obviously that's what you want. You don't want the cannons in your base to take out the entire enemy army, which is the mistakes many new players. So new players make a lot of mistakes in too many static defenses. The only thing you want from this is to have it do enough damage so that 1 Zergling can be taken out, 2 Zerglings. But for the rest you want to build your base in such a way that yeah, you delay them. You want to prevent them from running into your base straight away. And then you have the rest of your army, which is currently over here, to reinforce that. So if the Zerg comes in here and going to attack this pylon, there are maximum 2 Zerglings on this. 2, 3 maybe. So only a few can attack this, which means this cannon is going to be very effective against those 3 Zerglings, 2 or 3. And therefore, the base will never be breached. On the other hand, they can attack these buildings, and yeah, the cannon cannot really prevent that. It's going to take out a number of the units, but it cannot really prevent that. So what you need is these buildings to delay the Zerg player enough so that you can actually bring your army from here, or to the front, so all the way over here then, to actually make that, well, happen, to make sure that you don't lose the front of your base. And that's exactly the way it is here. So a little bit of scouting going on there. I don't know if that was an illusion or a real one, because with a real one that's kind of an expensive scout. It's not super expensive, but yeah, he doesn't have hallucination. Normally people don't build that, but yeah, well, fungal growth goes off. It does extra damage to units with armor, and all of these units are armored. But he is going to do fine, I think, with these Zerglings. Because the Zerglings are going to be very bad against the Colossi, but there's only one Colossus left. And the rest of the units are really terrible versus Zerglings. And yes, he wipes out the entire army with just a few Zerglings and of course the backup. But Infested Terran's going down now. Yeah, he did so much damage there with those Zerglings. And the Infested Terrans are going to do just fine. They can get taken out, it doesn't really matter. They're going to take out this pylon. Wow, actually, really efficient then. So a great defense there by our Zerg player. Stephano is of course one of the best, if not the best Zerg player in the world. And he can definitely work against any kind of strategy. He has plenty of vision, that's the advantage of being Zerg. All of these things, they provide you with vision. And I can actually show you that. This is the Protoss player. And this is the Zerg player. And you can see that the Zerg player can totally see everything on the minimap. And also on the real map, by the way, just saying. So they do provide vision everywhere, and that is just, yeah, that's just excellent. So he did warp in some zealots here, and the zealots are of course, well, better against those Zerglings, but they're not, well, super effective because they don't have the speed that the Zerglings have. That's why you have charge. But he's probably not going to upgrade that for a little bit because, well, he only has a few zealots and those zealots are meant as kind of a poke unit. So they run into an army, poke them down a little bit, delay the army from running into his army. But look at the efficiency of these Zerglings, taking out the shields in no time. The thing is that because this entire army came up behind it, he kind of didn't have time to finish off the rest of the units. But look at this. So many Zerglings. He knows that against this kind of an army composition, it should do fine. Only the Colossi are a problem. And of course there are no longer Immortals. Yeah, the Immortals were a little bit too early. So we are going to see some Brood Lords. And Brood Lords are normally not very efficient. They're great units in that they do a lot of damage. They also distract other units from, well, shooting at them because of those Broodlings. But it is very rare to see efficient Brood Lords. So we'll have to keep an eye on them and see how they do. But for now, it is just both people, well, both players sitting back in their base and just doing not a whole lot except building up. New base is coming up. We have a new base over here as well. Well, that's not a new base anymore because this one is the newest one. Yeah, we do have 3 bases up. Oh, this was the first expansion, I think. Or the main base even. I don't know, I kind of got... Yeah, this was the main base. I kind of got sidetracked by the fact that normally people spawn in the bottom left. And so in the corners, but not on this map. So we are going to snipe this entire nexus here. And wow, because of the block that's over here with all of these pylons, he actually couldn't surround it. And so the army comes in from the Protoss player and keeps the nexus alive at 62 health. That is an amazing thing. And yeah, really not getting anything done with these Zerglings. So we have the one Stalker here, just chilling. Of course, the Zerg player doesn't really need to capture these, but yeah, he has all the vision he needs. Drop is coming in, although I'm not actually sure if it's a drop or just a warp-in. But lots of Dark Templar coming out. And, well, we saw the amount of trouble people can have with Dark Templar in the last game. But he is going to just morph in the units that he needs. The Overseers in this case. And that should make it fine. Oh, wow. Where are the Overseers, man? There's the Overseer. They take out one base and a few more units. But, yeah, that's about it. Oh, this one is still not taken out. Oh, there comes the army. Finally does get rid of that. The Dark Templar normally do very well. But as I said, once you have that Overseer out, there's not a whole lot it can do anymore. It still does a lot of damage, but yeah, it still has to do that damage somewhere, and that is of course the problem that you mostly have with Dark Templar drops. That once you get spotted, it's pretty much inefficient. So all of the warpins get cancelled, and only 3 of the zealots made it through, and of course 3 zealots is not a problem. We have some roaches out now. Roaches are, yeah, they're great against anything that that this Protoss player is making, including the Colossi, because the Colossi, yeah, they do a lot of AoE damage, but only 21 damage total, where these guys do 17 damage times 2 to, at least I believe that's times 2, to roaches. But yeah, from the 17 damage you reduce it by a number because they're armored unit, and depending on the armor you reduce it by that much. So let's see, a roach, and they do have armor 4, so you reduce it by 4, so they do 13 damage then. Of course the Zerglings have no armor. They, yeah, normally, but well, you can upgrade that. And he has armor level 3, so that means -3 to all attacks. And that is excellent as a Zergling, but it's also kind of sucky as a Zergling that it works like that, because Zerglings only do like 5 damage. So if you have armor on something, then Zerglings are going to do only 4 damage, or 3, or 2. And yeah, that of course sucks balls. There is no armor, however, no real armor upgrades yet, only armor level 1 here. And that means that the Zerglings are still going to do a decent amount of damage. But yeah, these low damage units are normally not very good at well, damaging things in the late game, and therefore, well, they normally switch to higher tier units and well, just more expensive units. While all of these infestors are so dangerously close to the enemy Dark Templar that we have to assume that he just couldn't see that. Dark Templar, of course, and the Observer are going to, well, just circumvent all of this vision that that there is from the Zerg player. The Zerg player, of course, great at just, well, scouting around with that creep. He is, however, not proceeding any further with that. I don't know why. Maybe he forgot that he could do that, or maybe he just doesn't want to expose his creep tumors. But yeah, since creep tumors are free, I wouldn't really know why that would be. Anyhow, we have yeah, the Observer coming out here. It's going to take out this one creep tumor that was over there. I don't know how he got it there. He must have warped in, or well, gotten a queen there, but I really don't understand how you get a queen over there. Because that would mean you upgraded drop just for that. And on the other side we have the same thing, so I guess he did upgrade drop then. Huh. Yeah, he did. Cute. No, this is the, yeah, this is the transport one. I just noticed the name, and of course I don't know the pictures because nobody cares. But yeah, it is kind of strange to see these creep tumors here, because how did they get there? Are they? Oh, they're spawned with the map. It's just that they are pink, but they're probably spawning with the map, and that's probably how they got here. So yeah, this one is going to get taken out as well. Yeah, I don't really understand how. Yeah, well, whatever. I just don't know. But they do provide vision to the pink player if they are owned by the pink player. So I should have noticed that before, if he didn't place that. But both of them were actually in the center, which means that they probably came with the map. Yeah. Can't imagine anything else. Anyway, we are kind of sitting back a little bit too much for my taste, and we have a huge army of Broodlords here. But as I said, Broodlords normally not very effective. Yeah, in these large groups, they may actually prove effective, because, well, if you have this many of them, then what's the enemy going to do about that? Yeah, air units. But if you have corruptors Corruptors are like the best air units in the game. Anti-air units. Well, air-to-air units, I should say. Yeah, you can't really get up here with your Stalkers, because even if you blink in, you're just going to get owned. And, well, we'll have to see how this actually works out, because this is a huge group, of course. And, yeah, it's actually quite an amazing amount of them. Is he going to attack anywhere, or is he just going to, once again, just sit back and relax? The infested Terrans are coming out, and wow, they are getting stormed, which means that most of them die. But not all of them. There goes the rest, yeah. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. It's basically free. Well, it does cost energy, I guess. And here we go. The mothership has arrived. The mothership, of course, great in these kind of situations. And there you go. The Broodlord's not very efficient because they all get sucked. Well, about half of them get sucked into this vortex. And in the meantime, the rest is just either out of range or getting taken, getting taken down at the same time as they are attacking. But yeah, the vortex comes back up, and the Protoss player doesn't have enough to actually finish this. So even though the Broodlords weren't super effective, they still got the job done. And that is pretty amazing, because normally we see that Broodlords, yeah, they're not that good, but yeah, normally we don't see a group that's this big. Normally we see like 5, and then they go up against the 25 Blink Stalker group, and they all get taken out, while taking out like 3 Blink Stalkers, which is not a problem at all, of course. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. GG.